What is going on, brothers and sisters? It's your man, 50 Grand, the Godfather Nate Milton from the Kings of Sport podcast, and I am bringing you a very special Patreon exclusive video review, something we haven't done before, we might never do again, but the moment, the time, shall we say, and time is a very key element in this review, was big enough that I figured I should hop on the camera and give y'all my immediate reaction. So, of course, we are talking about the biggest movie on planet Earth right now, Avengers Endgame. And I got out of the theater maybe 90 minutes ago, maybe a little more than that, maybe a little less than that. But time is fluid. I don't know what time it is right now after watching Avengers Endgame. So, just to kind of let you know, set a little ground rules here off the top. Number one, we gonna spoil the hell out this movie. So if you haven't seen Avengers Endgame, do yourself a favor and, keep this queued up, keep it saved somewhere, and then go watch the movie and then come back and watch this, and you can, see my thoughts and see how it compares to your thoughts, and, our thoughts can commingle. Number two, this is not going to be a full review of the movie. This is not going to be a scene-by-scene thing. This is might be, 25, 30 minutes, if that. Basically, I'm just going to give you my immediate reaction to the movies and the top 5 things that I enjoyed about the movie, as well as my updated rankings of my top 5 MCU films. So there'll be plenty of other shows, plenty of other podcasts, plenty of other video reactions that you can find out there. Kevin Smith, of course, is probably going to have a crazy one, I'm sure. The good people over at Married to the Real are going to have one of those. Who else? Blind Wave. I know they do a bunch of these. AfterBuzz TV. Whoever you get your long form video reviews from, they'll have them. This is just kind of my immediate thoughts, my immediate reactions to the Avengers Endgame, and so I'm going to kind of keep it short and sweet. The other thing that I will say is I will probably be doing other shows, other podcasts in the weeks to come, which discuss Endgame more in depth. So I'll get into some deeper thoughts and things I loved about the movie, and maybe 1 or 2 nitpicks that I might not get into here this evening. So, again, you have been warned. Spoilers. We spoiling this thing in 5. You got 5 seconds to get up out of here. 4. I'm giving you to the count of 5. 3, 2. Oh, here it goes. We about to spoil this movie, y'all. Why they do my man Tony Stark like that? Woo, Tony Stark. Damn, Robert Downey Jr., I got to give you some love for that one, brother, though. Yes, Tony Stark is no longer with us. Steve Rogers is with us, but he's no longer Captain America, and that's just the beginning of some of the crazy stuff that happened in Avengers Endgame. So, basic, quick, Cliff's Note plot summary of the movie. It picks up 5 years after where Avengers Infinity War left off. We got the remaining Avengers, Captain Marvel. They trying to figure out what they're going to do. Hawkeye out here being all crazy, getting his Ronin thing on, whatever. They figure out they have to go back in time using Ant-Man's quantum technology, and they can get the Infinity Stones, reverse what Thanos did, and bada bing, bada boom, we're going to set the world back right. Or at least bring all the people back into the current time without affecting the timeline too much. I mean, it sounds more convoluted when I say it out loud, but just go watch the movie because it's great. So you got all your Avengers, they're doing their thing. We get a big fight at the end where everybody comes back. It's a great movie. It was long, but it was never boring. It never dragged. I know a lot of people love Infinity War. To me, this blows Infinity War out of the water. I kind of still view them as one picture, even though Russo and Marvel and Disney will tell you it's 2 separate movies because they want 2 different checks. They want 2 different bags. It's one big, long-ass movie. That's the other thing I want to tell y'all. I might use a little more colorful language this evening than I usually do on the Kings of Sport. And, I don't want you to think less of me as a dignified professional broadcaster, but I was up in the theater, full disclosure. I was up in the theater saying some words I normally don't say around mixed company, particularly the N-word. Everybody that came on the screen was my nigga. Even the white people. T'Challa showed back up. I'm like, oh, my nigga Black Panther. Tony Stark came back. My nigga Tony Stark. Peter Parker came back. my nigga Spider-Man. So even the women's was niggas. Even the women were niggas too. Like, oh, is that my nigga Black Widow? So I was being a little extra in the movie theater, but it's okay because everybody in the movie theater was being extra. Everybody was laughing and crying and joking and talking out loud, and that was just the old people in the back. So this was a great viewing experience in the theater as well as being a great movie. So kind of the 5 things I like the best about Avengers Endgame. Number 1, kind of the clip show premise of the movie. And basically, like I said, they have to go back in time through the quantum technology, and they go back to previous movies. You know, we see them in, the original Avengers. We see them in Captain America, the first Avenger movie. We see them in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 1. We see them in Thor, The Dark World, and there's another one that we see them in, I think. Oh, Infinity War, because they go back to whatever that place was where the Soul Stone and the Red Skull was. And so I think in the hands of lesser directors and lesser actors and people that haven't been doing this for 10 years, this premise might have fallen apart towards the third act. But they held it together pretty well. There were some pretty funny in-jokes. There were some great rewards for fans of the series. If you've been watching since day one, they paid it off in this movie. This movie really was the culmination of the first decade of Marvel movies. So the time travel premise was something that I really enjoyed, and the clip show format really worked in this instance. The second thing I liked about this movie, your boy Fat Thor. Fat Thor. Oh, hold on. Should he be Fat Thor or Thick Thor? I think Thick Thor. Yeah, let's go with Thick Thor. Thick Thor was pretty cool because you had Chris Hemsworth out there doing his best Jeff Bridges, the dude from the Big Lebowski impression. Thor was despondent because while he does, spoiler alert, kill Thanos at the beginning of the movie, at the beginning of Endgame, it doesn't matter because Thanos has already accomplished his goal. And so you got Thor being despondent. He's drinking. We see Korg and Meek kind of crashing on his couch. Thor is berating little children on online video games. And he's got the beer gut. And what I love about this movie is lesser films would have had Thor return back to Asgardian glory by the end of the movie. This film, we still had Thor on the battlefield with the beer gut fighting. And I thought that was a nice touch. We still had a little bit of dude bro Thor, but there was also a very touching scene when Thor and Rocket had to go back to Asgard in the time of Thor, The Dark World, and he got to speak with Renee Russo, his mother, Frigga. And it was a really touching scene. That's the other thing, man. This movie had a lot of laughs and a lot of kind of gut punches and tear-jerking type of moments. So Marvel's always been really adept at balancing the silly and the comedic with emotion and charm and things that really get you to feel things about these characters, which, not to throw shade at DC, but I think that's some of the things that a lot of their earlier movies have lacked. I think they've done better recently with Aquaman and Shazam and whatnot, even Wonder Woman to a certain extent. But the Batman and Superman movies, I thought they were good. They were decent. They were, better quality superhero movies than anything that came out when I was a teenager. But at the same time, I didn't feel an emotional connection to Superman or Batman in those movies the way I do for Tony Stark or Natasha or Bruce Banner or any of these Marvel characters that we've grown with over the past 10 years. So Fat Thor, Thick Thor is number 2 on my list. Number 3. Y'all know, when we had Micah and Terrence from, was it Mike and Terrence? No, it was Mike and Jay from Black on Black Cinema last year to talk about Black Panther. One of the things that Jay brought up is if you dislike a character or don't really love a character, Marvel will find a way to get you to love that character. They did it with Doctor Strange. A lot of people were kind of about the Doctor Strange solo movie, but they loved him in Endgame. Matter of fact, the theater I was in, he received a big round of applause when he showed up for the final fight. So people is cool with Stephen Strange now, where they might not have been before. And a character that I think has been kind of divisive, maybe not for all the right reasons. In fact, quite plainly, for some of the wrong reasons. When you got a lot of these people out here hating on Carol Danvers and Brie Larson because they are scared that, that movie, like they feel like it's an affront to their masculinity. When it's a superhero movie, baby. Enjoy the ride. But Carol Danvers in this movie, Carol Danvers was my, I was about to say Carol Danvers was my nigga, but she was. Carol Danvers did the damn thing in this movie. She was so much better. Not that Brie Larson wasn't good in Captain Marvel. She was fine, but it felt like she stepped into the role of Captain Marvel in this movie, and I think they used her just the right amount. She wasn't somebody that dominated the screen. She had a good presence in the first 30 minutes, and then we really didn't see her again until the big fight at the end of the movie where she wrecked shop. And then we get this great moment, speaking of hashtag feminism, we get this great moment where it's Scarlet Witch, it's Shuri and Okoye from Wakanda, Valkyrie, who's back in this movie, and Carol Danvers, Captain Marvel, and they just wreck shop on Thanos' forces. So that was a really cool moment for Carol Danvers, and she was really cool in this movie. The one thing we didn't get, though, was like a big reunion with her and Samuel L. Jackson, but I'm sure we'll probably get that in a future installment. The next thing that I really loved, and it kind of ties into what I was talking about with Captain Marvel, is the relationships with these characters in the movie. All the special effects are great. All the fighting is great, but it doesn't mean anything if you don't have a connection to the characters. And there were so many moments. Now, I'm not going to say I cried in the movie theater because, real gangsters don't cry. Real G's we stay tight. Keep it right up in here, man. Now, I won't cry, but I did get a little emotional in the theater a couple times. That earlier scene I mentioned with Thor talking to his mother, that was really dramatic. The scene where we finally get a false reunion early in the movie between Tony Stark and Steve Rogers, which is really kind of their first face-to-face since the events of Captain America Civil War, but that doesn't last. And then when they go back because they need Tony's help, and Tony and Pepper have this adorable little daughter who is low-key one of my favorite parts of the movie, just seeing her and Robert Downey Jr. interact. We get Tony and Cap, and Tony decides, I'm going to help the Avengers, and he brings Cap back as S.H.I.E.L.D. I was like, come on, man. And you don't get this big kind of overly sentimental, overly sappy reunion between Tony and Cap, which honestly, I would have been fine with that. Like, because I was already at that point where I was emotional. Like, Tony, that's your brother Steve. Steve, that's your brother Tony. But, it wasn't an emotional reunion. I mean, it was emotional. It wasn't over the top, though. And, we got two men that they're not friends, but they're brothers. And I think that's what this movie conveyed, is that even in the best of times, there was friction between Steve Rogers and Tony Stark. But they were always on the same page. Civil War fractured that. But this movie, they came together, and the relationship between Steve and Tony ended on a good note. They ended as brothers. They ended as comrades in arms. And so that was very dramatic. Some other relationships, a lot of this is going to kind of come back to Tony Stark. Tony and Pepper. Gwyneth Paltrow was back in this movie. Tony and Pepper Potts. That was an emotional scene. Tony, when they went back in time to the period of Captain America, the First Avenger, they ran into Howard Stark, who was working with S.H.I.E.L.D. back in the day. And Tony got to spend a brief moment with his dad as an adult. And that was a touching scene. And then, again, I don't cry because, gangsters don't cry. Ain't no precipitation with my situation, brother. Maybe a little. But when Peter Parker came back, and how Peter Parker talk a mile a minute. You think I talk fast? Peter Parker talk faster than me. When Peter Parker comes back in the middle of the big battle at the end of the movie, and him and Tony Stark, they see each other. Peter's like, Mr. Stark, it's good to see you. This happened and this happened and this happened. And Tony, instead of just being like, shut up, kid, we got to fight, he hugs Peter. And Peter's like, oh, this is nice. And it's a great moment. And then when, again, spoiler alert, But if you're this deep into the review, it's your own fault. When Tony Stark sacrifices himself at the end of the movie by getting the Infinity Gauntlet and snapping and getting rid of all of Thanos' forces and getting rid of Thanos and getting rid of all the invaders, and he dies because the radiation, the energy coming from the Infinity Stones kills him. It's not fit for a human body. Everybody's kind of crowded around Tony. And Peter Parker just goes up to him, Mr. Stark, we did it. Mr. Stark, we did it. We won. And he's like, we won. I'm sorry. And you can see, like, Tom Holland, that boy good. I can't wait to see what they do with him in Far From Home and how the loss of his mentor, the loss of a father figure, so to speak, the loss of maybe only the second male role model in his life. And I don't want to get all Terry Crews here and get people mad about, we don't need father figures in these days and ages. I don't know why I made that person like a Confederate character from Song of the South, but hey, it is what it is. But he's lost Uncle Ben, and now he's lost Tony Stark. And I think that's going to have ramifications on Peter Parker's story going forward. So the relationship between Tony and Peter was cool. And then, just some of the other characters, Rocket and Thor, Sam Wilson and Bucky Barnes. It was just a great, Nebula and Gamora, it was just a great movie all the way around in terms of relationships between the characters. Oh, Clint and Natasha, Hawkeye and Black Widow. When Black Widow sacrifices herself so Clint can live to see his family again. I've never really cared about Natasha, and I've never really cared about Clint, and that's no shade on Jeremy Renner or ScarJo. Like, they both do good with their characters. They're just not my favorite characters. But when we had that moment of these two friends that have been through so much, Budapest, space, Clint being brainwashed, all this stuff, and Natasha sacrifices herself so that he can save him, and now she finally gets that red out of her ledger. That was a powerful moment. So shout out to the relationships in this movie. And that brings me to number 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The 5th reason why I love Avengers Endgame. We got a black Captain America, y'all. This was a COVID mania moment in the MCU. This was Falcon mania, Sam Wilson mania, because at the very end of the movie, Steve Rogers, who, by the way, Steve Rogers, like, not once, not twice, not 3 times, but multiple times in the final third of the movie, was wielding Thor's hammer like a champ. And that's a beautiful callback to Avengers Age of Ultron, where, Steve nudged up Mjolnir, meow, a little bit. He was able to fully wield it in this movie, and I thought that was really cool to kind of bring things full circle. But anyway, Steve Rogers was supposed to go back in time, make sure everything was set so the timelines wasn't crazy, and then come right back. That ain't what Steve Rogers did, y'all. Steve Rogers said, you know what? I've been protecting America this whole time. You know what I'm saying? Found out that Hydra was S.H.I.E.L.D., and, people lied to me and stuff. I ain't never had my life. I was supposed to go to this dance with my girl. I ain't never get that dance with my girl. Steve said, I'm going back to get my life back. By the way, the little Hail Hydra moment with Cap was brilliant too. But Steve said, I'm going back to get my life back. So instead of coming right back to the present of the MCU, Steve Rogers fixed the timeline, made sure everything was straight, and then just stayed back in the 40s, 50s, 60s, whenever it was, time of First Avenger, and lived a life with, what's my girl's name? Peggy Carter. I almost said Sharon Carter, but that's her niece that Steve was dating, kind of, sort of, which was weird. But hey, it's comic books, baby. So he goes back, lives a full life with Peggy Carter, gets married. And so one of the last scenes we see in the movie is Sam Wilson, the Hulk, Bruce Banner, and Bucky are kind of freaking out because they can't find Cap. He didn't come back when he was supposed to, going through the time machine. And they see an old man sitting by the riverbanks. And Bucky and Sam walk over there, and Bucky's like, hey, talk to him, Sam. And he's like, Cap, is that you? It's like, hey, Sam, good to see you. And they got Chris Evans in the old man makeup. And Chris Evans, Captain America, tells Sam, he's lived a wonderful life. He decided to actually stay in his time period, got married, had a wonderful life. And, he made the right choice. And Sam's like, hey, man, that's cool. I'm just bummed out that we won't have a Captain America anymore, brother. And then Steve was like, well, since you brought that up, here's my shield, dog. Son, you telling me the next Captain America movie we get is starring a black man in Donald Trump's America, possibly? Come on, man. Marvel played too many games. Y'all thought people was mad when they brought out Black Panther. Y'all thought people was mad when they brought out Captain Marvel. And everybody's like, oh, you're pushing that feminist agenda. Wait till they get mad when they see my man, Anthony Mackie, cut the check in the red, the white, and the blue. They ain't ready for that. I'm not even ready for that, and I want to see it. But I know they ain't ready for that. So that's the fifth thing I liked about this movie. Black Captain America. Shout out to Anthony Mackie. Shout out to Steve Rogers. I'll see anything else before I kind of wrap this up. This is a really good movie, man. I count Infinity War and Endgame as one big movie. Matter of fact, I wouldn't have minded if we had, 30, 40 more minutes on this movie. Yeah, it was a long movie, but, I'd have been cool with a 10-minute intermission. And, we get back for 2 more hours of movie because it was that good. It was that well done. It was a reward for everybody who has been watching these movies since the beginning, since Iron Man back in 2008. This was the culmination of that. It was I'm not going to say perfect because nothing's ever really perfect, but it was a near perfect, maybe as close to perfect as you can get in a movie. It was a near perfect ending and a potentially great beginning to the MCU. And so if you haven't seen it, go out and see it. If you haven't seen it, I don't even know why you sat down and watched this other than you like, hearing me talk. So I appreciate you for contributing to the Patreon and listening to my review. But the other thing I was going to say is, what else? Karen Gillan is Nebula. Nebula did a thing in this movie too. Nebula stepped up. I enjoyed her as part of the crew. And so it'll be interesting to see going forward where we've got this new Guardians of the Galaxy, or as Guardians of the Galaxy, because Thor ends up getting on the ship. Is that the crew we get for Guardians 3 by the time James Gunn comes back around? So there's so many questions, man, because we got Captain Marvel, we got Hulk, we got Spider-Man, we got Black Panther, we got Black Captain America, which I'm excited for the TV show on Disney Plus, but I can't wait to see what they do with my boy Mackie as Captain America on the big screen. I think that's going to be crazy. So my grade for Avengers Endgame, on a scale of 1 to 5, I'm going to give this, again, I said nothing's ever perfect, so I can't give it a 5, just on GP. But I'm going to give it a 4.95. Like, it's as close to perfect as you're going to get in a blockbuster summer superhero movie. Again, I think if you're a fan of the series, check it out. If you are kind of tangentially tied to the series and you watch Black Panther or you watched Spider-Man, you're like, I can take it or leave it. Give it a shot because it's really a great job by the cast and crew. Tony Stark in what's presumably his last role in the MCU did the damn thing. Chris Evans, who I guess could still come back as Old Man Cap, but it's probably leading towards the end of, like, maybe we'll get a scene in Black Cap. That's what I'm gonna call it now. I know it's probably gonna be like Captain America, Falcon in the Winter, Sam in the Winter Soldier, something like that. They'll probably come up with some nifty title to differentiate it from the previous Captain America franchise. But I think we'll get a scene somewhere in that where we get Sam needing advice, and so he goes to Old Man Cap. But that's probably it. Like, we're not going to see fighting, swashbuckling Steve Rogers Captain America anymore. And so, for all the people that said Infinity War didn't have stakes, that half of the movie didn't have stakes because, again, I think it's one big film. But Endgame definitely had stakes and lasting ramifications on the Marvel Universe. So to kind of wrap things up, I'm going to give my updated top 5 of the MCU movies. I'm going to cheat because I think I've got like 8 or 9 movies in my top 5, but, it is what it is. So Starting at number 5, I have I got a 4-way tie between Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 1, Iron Man back in 2008, the original Avengers, and Spider-Man Homecoming. At number 4, Captain America, the Civil War. At number 2, I went from 4 to 2 because that's man, again, time is fluctuous. Fluctuous isn't even a word, but we going with it, baby. Number 5 was Guardians, Iron Man, Avengers, and Spider-Man. Number 4 is Captain America Civil War. Number 3, Wakanda Forever, Black Panther. Number 2, Captain America the Winter Soldier, which as a film, I think is probably still the best MCU movie. Like, I think Captain America the Winter Soldier is a film that transcends superhero movies. Like, it's just a damn good movie. But for the purposes of this ranking, I've got it at number 2 because I have a new number 1. The Avengers Infinity War and Endgame, because it's one damn movie. It's all connected, as they used to say. But that's my top 5 MCU movies. I'm about to wrap this thing up because I've been talking too long. I need to, go have me some adult beverages, pull one out for my man Tony Stark and Natasha and all the people that we lost along the way. But yeah, Avengers Endgame, it's a fun ride. It's a fun time. Go check it out and leave some comments. What did you think about the movie? And maybe, I'll talk about it on the Kings of Sport podcast proper. Maybe I can even get Brother Lightskin in on the conversation with me. So that's going to do it. I want to send a special shout out to Jermaine Jones, the problematic Jermaine Jones from Chi-Town, for suggesting that I hop on these cameras and give you guys and girls a quick MCU review. So shout out to Brother Jermaine from Chicago, and shout out to you for checking this out. So that's gonna do it, man, because I'm tired. I'm done. Like that Endgame, boy, it's a monster. So for Marcus Vanderberg, who is not here, for Tony Stark, who is not here, and for everybody in the MCU, behind the scenes, in front of the camera, all the people that did work over the years, and Stan Lee, who had a little cameo, I guess his last cameo in the movie. Man, it's great. It's a great thing. It's a fun time to be a geek, a nerd, a blurred, if you will. And so, yeah, what a time to be alive, folks. So for Marcus, I'm Nate. Thank you for checking this out, and I'll see y'all later.